Hola bandidos, ¿cómo estamos? Welcome to Mel's Magic. I'm Magic Mel, and this is Owl, one of my spirit guides. Welcome to episode 1 of season 6. And as I told you, I'm trying out something new. I'm constantly refining, improving, growing, evolving. And I like to stretch myself beyond my comfort zone, because the comfort zone is the known. And just beyond the known is where we step into the field of infinite possibilities. Now, as you know, Magic Mel free flows in these sessions. I tried in the past to create structure, but it just trips me up. There's so much I want to share with you, so much I want to talk about. But I especially want to follow up on yesterday's share. For some reason, I couldn't sleep well. I had so many thoughts in my head, and I don't know if they were downloads. But I had so many thoughts about what I said, about taking this leap of faith, seizing and harnessing the energy of the Fool in the tarot. By seizing and harnessing, I mean to embody that, to literally try on that energy as if we were the Fool taking a leap of faith. But I want to remind us that the Fool is not naive. The Fool is not ignorant. He hasn't ignored the past. Quite to the contrary, he has processed the past. And in his little luggage, his little backpack, he carries only the necessary, the tools and the wisdom that he requires as he embarks on this new journey. I put the cards aside. Put the cards aside. And I also talked about a bit of my experience as the divine feminine on this twin flame journey, and how personally I am seizing this energy of the Fool and allowing myself to open up to this new chapter. However, and it's auspicious because today is the equinox. The equinox means balance, harmony between day and night. So however, as we seize the Fool and step into this new chapter, we know how to balance our inner feminine and our inner masculine. And although physical union with our twin is somewhat, I'm not sure if I can call it a goal. I guess it's more a consequence of our inner union. And I'm saying this because we are wise now. We have learned the lessons. We protect our own inner feminine. Our inner divine masculine is our bodyguard. And he will not allow us to leech, lose our power to overshare, to overgive, to rescue, to fix somebody else, even and especially not the divine masculine. And to further talk about this, I want to go back to this painting that I'm working on. I want to highlight the importance of these two individual, separate paths. The divine feminine on this journey is always a step ahead. She's the one who first went through soul recognition. And in the beginning, the divine feminine was the distorted feminine, meaning she was not standing in her power. I was not in my power. The emotions that I felt and that ran so deep were necessary for me to allow my own core wounding to come up. And it was me, the divine feminine. If you are divine feminine out there, it was you who went through the dark night of the soul first. And the pain was excruciating. And quite frankly, when it happened to me, it was not even a year after I had started to rebuild myself from my own separate personal breakdown. So it was a lot to deal with. And there was a point where I was really asking myself, why? Why more pain? And when we're in the midst of it, in the thick of things, we're lost. But being so lost in our own darkness and our own wounding forced us and pushed us to seek the light again and to really process and deal with this core wounding. Because I asked myself, why again the same hurt? Am I going crazy? And that's when I really had to look at things and trace things back and see how I was running after something instead of looking inside, trying to fix something out there instead of looking inside and fixing myself. And the abandonment wound was so obvious that I sat with it and looked at it and said, okay, where is this coming from? Because it is not normal. And nothing on the twin flame journey is normal. If anything, it's paranormal, it's transcendental. But if you're with me on this journey, you know how confusing and how disorienting and how earth shattering it has been. So, us divine feminines, and I'm talking here, I don't know who's watching. I'm talking to the divine feminine and the divine masculine, but I want to address the divine feminine first. You were the one who had to incubate like Jonas in the whale and find your way out first by seeking the light. And in addition to all of the past trauma and hurt and processing, in addition came this twin flame triggering, which is a soul spiritual catalyst for us to awaken. One more ego death necessary to awaken. And you, divine feminine, you built your bridge back to your own heart. and you cleared any blockages and anything that was obfuscating your light. We all embody a keynote resonance that is a unique keynote in the wider symphony of the universe. We all have a unique aura. We are like unique stars in the universe. So personally, these are my colors of my aura. I know that. And I had to sweep, clear this path, this bridge back to my heart, which was a bridge, a twofold bridge, a bridge back to my own heart and a bridge that connects me to the divine. And I really want to emphasize that these are two separate paths, two separate bridges. And when we were in our distorted feminine energy, we try to save, fix, rescue, build the bridge for the other person, but that is not the point. Because on this journey, also, the other incarnation is you. And I'm saying that in the sense that as long as you try and run and obsess and focus on the other, you will keep on spinning. What this journey invites us to do is really to look inside where everything is happening and where the transformation needs to take place first and foremost. I had to bring my own feminine energy back into balance from a powerless, manipulative, suppressed version into the divine, into the exalted version. And this process was not possible had it not been for divine assistance, divine intervention. Because it's so difficult to navigate this just from the ego and the mind, if not impossible. Because it's not a rational journey. So as we navigate the catacombs, the tunnels of our own being, we had to reach out for assistance and for extra support, help, and guidance. And it required so much surrendering. Surrendering is not to be confused with giving up, quite the contrary. Surrendering requires an act of faith and an act of courage. This journey is only possible as long as we focus on our own path, on our own bridge, on our own inner world. If we get lost on the other one's path, even if it's our divine counterpart, we lose ourselves. And this journey is everything but losing ourselves. It's about finding ourselves. It's about coming back home to our own heart. And despite the yearning for the other, despite the heartache, I want to give you the advice to go inwards. Because union and balance and harmony has to happen here first. Because this journey is also about realizing that we are the one. I am the one. You are the one. You are your own soulmate first. We have to become that which we want to attract. Like meets like. So focusing on our own bridge, on our own path is the only way. It's the only way. And sometimes I think, yes, coming together in the 3D. I don't even know how that's going to be. Mind-blowing, heart-blowing for sure, but not even that is the end point. Because the goal of this is much larger. It's coming together in devotion to the divine, in service to the divine. It's a completely different type of relationship. It is not the usual 3D boy meets girl relationship. No, this is a soul deep connection. I'm not sure about the statistics, but I know there's a whole bunch of us going through this process. So you're not alone on this journey. We might be on different timelines because depending on our action, on our inner harmony, that will change the timeline we're on. Because the timeline is a reflection of our inner state. And this journey is all about our inner state. Because the divine couples, divine twin flames, are a whole different breed, a whole different type of relationship where two whole beings are coming together and co-creating with the divine. And they can only come together when and if they've done their healing on their separate paths. Otherwise, they will just trigger the hell out of each other because they're mirrors. So as I'm taking, I want to talk a little bit about this new energy that I so crazily embodied yesterday also. I'm confident about taking this new journey because I know I have my own back. I have learned my lessons not to betray myself nor to abandon myself anymore. I'm aware of my inner divine feminine essence. And I'm also aware of my inner divine masculine presence, who will not allow me to lose myself. And that gives me the confidence to be in relationship with somebody again. The big lesson also for me has been to love myself first. And that was just something so unfamiliar in the past because I was so lost in Maya, in the game, in the outward. I never really looked within. And when I did start to look within, I realized it was a battlefield. It was a ravaged landscape, a desolate landscape, a fragmented landscape, and it was scary to go inside. Because I didn't know where to start, and I didn't know how to do it. But the important thing was just to take one step at a time and to trust, to surrender. And the biggest lesson also was to choose myself first, even though there were these deep running feelings for the other person, this resonance. The divine feminine is the one who exits the karmic cycle first, and who is a lighthouse for the divine masculine. It is not up to the divine feminine to go and rescue and save the masculine, no. The divine feminine comes into her own wholeness first and holds up a mirror of the potential for the masculine. And the difficult part for the feminine was to not get lost in the potential she was seeing in the masculine. Because the potential is precisely that. It is up to the masculine to step up and do his own healing. Because ultimately the twin flame Union is also about partnership. We're not here to reenact our father's wound. We're not here to smother or mother somebody else or to feed someone's insecurities. No. As divine feminines, we have this tendency to nurture, to save, to solve, and that goes way back to childhood. And it's a difficult pattern because we are very giving. But this overgiving has left ourselves depleted. And we have learned the hard way that we cannot go that down that road anymore. We have to fill our own cup first. And as hard as it is, we have to relinquish the other and choose ourselves. And the sobering fact is also that this will continue to be like that. Because even coming together in union does not mean we're going to merge with the other. We have to maintain the inner balance. That's the only way it can work. And it's difficult, it's challenging, but it's not impossible. I wanted to look up the story of Shakti and Shiva from Hindu mythology. The beautiful thing about myths is that they remind us that we as human beings form part of this larger cosmic play. That we are also part of the archetypes. And the love between Shiva and Shakti was so deep. He was the moon, she was the sun. And they respected each other. They loved each other. They were devoted to one another, recognizing their differences, knowing that neither was more important than the other. Imagine having only the sun take away the night and the moon. Can't even imagine a world like that. Or the opposite, no sun, only night. We need both. And we need to value what the other brings to the table in our differences, in our different expressions, in our different energies. And yes, avouer in French, admit that we do need each other to create harmony. But I also told myself, I have worked on this bridge back to my heart so fervently, so vehemently. And it was a painstaking transformation. And I've reached a point where I honor myself so much that I will not put anyone above that. And unconditional love is one thing. Self-honoring and being respected and being treated in a fair way is a different thing. We can love unconditionally from afar, but to enter into a partnership, there needs to be harmony, there needs to be balance, there needs to be give and take. And just like in my coaching, I reflect on these things. I do not want to coerce anyone, convince anyone, convert anyone. No, why would I? My ideal client is also someone who is willing, who is excited, who is ready to do the work together with me. Because me as the soul guide, as the coach, is not above the other person. That again would be codependency and enabling. putting somebody on the pedestal outside of yourself. No, why? That is, again, outsourcing your own authority. And my goal as in coaching is to activate, to support you in your own empowerment, to reflect your own guidance back at you. Because sometimes it's difficult to see within ourselves. But I'm not doing the work for you. And the same goes for all my relationships nowadays. I have certain standards, and I will no longer overgive. And I trust my body and my being and its signals when I'm entering that treacherous terrain. So being in relationship with somebody or something requires a flow of energy, give and take. Otherwise, it's a downward spiral, downward vortex. I want an upward spiral, growth, cooperation, collaboration. So I don't know at which part of your journey you're at, divine feminines, but courage, stay in the heart space, cultivate tremendous self-compassion and grace and patience with yourself, because this is definitely not a sprint. It's for the long haul. We're in it for the long haul. And I know it can be disorienting, it can be devastating, but the destination is so worth it. And the destination is not out there. It's coming back home to your heart space, your true home. And the same goes for the divine masculine. This is not even about fighting against or being in separation. It's anything but. However, we're only responsible to and for ourselves first, for our own journey, for how we put ourselves back together again. And that is enough. That is more than enough. When we come into our own true keynote resonance and we realize and recognize who we truly are, we cannot help but shine. And as we shine and express ourselves freely and creatively, we almost like, what is the opposite of collateral damage? I want, as a consequence, as a good consequence, we may inspire others. But the goal shouldn't be to inspire others. The goal is to enjoy, to be in joy with our own being. The beautiful thing about joy is that it's an energy that wants to give and share. So it's just natural for the joy to come out and to share it with other people, to bring it to other people. But only us ourselves know what and how we can bring joy into our lives. That's our only responsibility. So joy is a characteristic of the soul. And I want to live a soulful life. A joyful life is a soulful life because the soul knows what it enjoys. I want to share another painting. In all those moments of pain, where I really sometimes felt the blood draining out of me, I sat in meditation and I consciously redirected the dripping blood upwards. And I imagined a golden heart. And I imagined that heart being within me. And I told myself, me as the alchemist, as the transmuter of energies, I can redirect the flow. I can turn lead into gold. And I can pour that pain and transmute it back into my own heart, which is full of self-love now. And I had to sit with this over and over again, but it helped. Symbolism is so powerful. I just look a bit like a lioness with my mascara on the side. Here's another painting. If you can see this. There we go. When we're in the middle of a heartbreak, we tend to curse it. We scream up to the heavens, why me? We finger point and we feel victimized. But unbeknownst to us, all of these heartbreaks make our heart bigger. Look at the shards of our previous constraint, of our previous restriction and constriction. The heartbreaks were necessary for our heart to grow. Because the sacred heart is so vast. And we are here to learn how to expand the sacred heart that we carry within into infinity, into the heavens. And the process of alchemy, of transmutation, requires fire. And I can't recall the exact stages of the alchemical process, dissolution, crystallization. I need to look it up again. But fire is necessary to transmute the energy, the matter. Like stepping into the cauldron, the fire, our inner fire. It's painful and it's a transformative process, but we must take that step if we want to embody more love. And if there's one thing we take away from this human experience as we pass into the afterlife, is our capacity to love. And it starts with ourselves, with our own heart. That's why on the twin flame journey, coming home into our own hearts first creates a much bigger state of being of love. But it is really all about love. Only love has the power to go beyond our fears, our limitations. It is the most powerful energy of the universe. It is our home. It's where we come from. So our journey back home is a journey back to love. And it's a beautiful one. It's a beautiful one. Despite, and I'd say precisely because of the pain. Here's another painting I did. Was it 2021? I shall make a separate recording video of my journey through my own darkness, because I keep on bringing it up here and there and I reference it. But I feel it can be of value. I want to share because it can be of value to somebody. But if I was to sum up the process of transformation from one state into the other, there can be no clearer representation than this one. I had to pass through the eye of the needle to convert my tear of sorrow and pain into a different frequency. And the rainbow is, on the visible spectrum, is light. This is the alchemical process that I went through and that we can all go through if we do the work. If we do the work. And I guess my lesson is also that I don't want to anymore wait until change is enforced onto me because change is constant. It takes not just one moment of surrendering, but a constant surrendering of our ego's projections, plans, strategies. If we resist the ongoing change, that's when things accumulate. Because change means expansion, and we're constantly asked to follow our highest expansion. If we resist, it's like pulling back a rubber band. And we can only pull it back so long until it snaps. And it's a more painful process. I used to literally change or transform that way, like in spurts. Now I'm just like, I want the easier route. I want the softer, gentler route. And that is exactly also what I had to learn, to be more gentle with myself. There was a time, I think somebody, I can't even remember who mentioned it to me, but he said, or she said, do you ever look at yourself in the mirror and can you tell yourself that you love yourself? And I noticed when I first tried doing that, you would evade my own gaze. It was very confronting. But I make it a point now. I look at myself in the mirror and I see myself and I say, hey, Melanie, I love you and I've got your back. And if there's anything, divine feminines, that we need to learn, not only divine feminines, everyone, have our own back, is to be our own best cheerleader, to be able to depend on our own judgment, our own wisdom, our own resources, our own capacity to stand by ourselves, to not be our own worst enemy. And that is what gives me strength. And maybe those of you who follow me for a while, especially on Instagram, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I can imagine how from the outside it looks like I have a beautiful and magical life, and I do. I do. But what is not visible are all the choices I make daily to create that kind of life. I have to often make hard decisions on my own because I don't want to rely on someone else's, maybe input, yes, somebody I trust and somebody whose opinion I value. But at the end of the day, I want to make my own decisions. And sometimes it's difficult because I don't know what the outcome is. And if something goes wrong, I cannot blame anyone anymore. It's my responsibility, but I'll take it. Take it. Because it is my life. And making decisions is an enactment of our freedom of choice, which I feel is only possible in its truest sense when we have disentangled ourselves from codependent operations, from passivity. Freedom of choice comes from a place where we live an intentional life. We're conscious and aware of what really matters to us, what values we want to embody, how we want to live our life, what is meaningful to us, and to go after those things. Not for anyone else, but for ourselves, because this is our life. My responsibility is to follow my soul's calling and to live up to that truth, that calling, as closely and as devotedly as possible, for my own sake, for my own salvation. So what I guess I would want to tell you is, don't get lost in the twin flame roller coaster. Don't get lost in the projection and the image, because it is about you and how you balance your own inner masculine. And for you masculines, how you connect, cherish, and protect your own inner feminine. Because the way you treat a feminine outside is a reflection of how you treat your own feminine. And for the feminines, the same. My big issue has been trust. Trusting the masculine again. And I've seen it interestingly play out over the past few days with dancing, where in class I would kind of tighten up if I have a male partner. It's as if, and my teacher said, Mel, you have to surrender to the guidance. And there's some voice in me that's like, I don't know if I can trust surrendering, but I want to. And I'm working with my nervous system to practice surrendering and allowing to flow and to feel safe in the presence of a masculine again. Because it's only when the feminine feels safe that she can surrender and open up. And over the weekend when I went dancing, I realized, wow, I was so lucky. I met these really good guys, with good intentions, and we had fun, and there was no underlying it was just pure fun and innocent. And it made me relax a bit. So that's my internal work. But knowing and connecting to my own inner masculine and trusting him inside of me is the first step. Because I know when I bring this into balance, I will only entertain and value and attract a healthy masculine reflection. But we have to go inside. And I feel much of the pain on the twin flame journey has been when I was unaware that it was an inside job, when I got lost in the obsessing about the other person. So if you want a shortcut advice, guys, that is really what I would like to emphasize. It's an inside job now and will be. So being in intimacy with yourself, in connection with yourself, is essential throughout this life. To come into our own sovereignty, to understand our own energy, our own capacity for giving and receiving Yeah, to not lose ourselves in the other. I don't want to fall in love anymore. I want to rise in love. That is at the essence of the new divine counterpart, parejas. I know what I want. I know what I deserve. And that sets the standard. That sets the standard. I wanted to do something really vulnerable. I don't know if I'm going to do it. Because in these episodes also I try to push myself, as I said in the beginning, to always try out something different, to always reinvent myself. Because that's another thing at the essence of the divine feminine. We are constantly shifting because we are a stream of creation. It's a flow of creativity. We cannot be pigeonholed or labeled or categorized or put into a box. And that can be intimidating, I get it. And confusing and disorienting, I guess, for the masculine, because like, oh, I don't really know how to deal with her. But that's where the trust comes in. So I want to enjoy my own creative flow and just see what is possible. What is possible? How can I express myself more freely, more uninhibited, more trusting? Okay, I'm gonna do this. I can't believe this is live also, but there's nobody really here watching, apart from you who are gonna watch the replay. Okay, I'm going to invite a special guest. I want her to feel safe. Abujibu, buji 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 ji, abujibu, buji buji bu, abujibu, buji 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 ji, abujibu, buji buji bu. You know who that was? And it was her. I don't know if you can see it. It's my little angel. This is me, I think, 3 years old. And she is alive inside of me. And she's the one that I had to come to peace with in order to heal. Because I had abandoned her a long time ago. And she was the one who was acting from the shadows of my soul psyche, calling for my conscious attention to make amends. She's the creative one. She's the curious one. She's the innocent part of me. The inner child that we all carry inside. Not only our own inner child, but a cosmic inner child that wants us to love it, to be there for it, to be a loving parent to it. And I can only let her out now because she feels safe within my own inner parent. She trusts me again. And I cherish this relationship lovingly. Because we often think we're this one-dimensional being. We're not. We're a vessel. We can embody our ancestors, heavenly frequencies, gods and goddesses. We have so many different aspects that we need to understand and not bulldoze, but respect, listen to, and come to harmony with. Otherwise, we're a battlefield. And the inner child is essential for us to connect with our joy. So that was her singing a little tune for you. I think, guys, we had enough. No, today it was 50 minutes. Divine Feminine, stand your ground, stay on your path. Divine Masculines, we trust you to do your own inner work and to find your way back home. We can't do the work for you. We are a mirror of the potential of your highest capacities. And that was so painful also to accept that what we saw in you was not for us to bring about. But hopefully it planted a seed in your own soul to awaken and strive to embody that potential. Because that is where you meet us. Sending infinite love, infinite gratitude that you were here with me, and I feel more zen now. when I have all these thoughts that I want to express bottled up inside of me, it causes a constriction and a kind of malaise. I feel it's important for us to share our voice and what we go through, our processes, because we're not alone in this journey. And you never know who will benefit by what you are sharing. So I'll leave you with that. I'm going to end this live stream, live stream. And I'll see you for the next live. Maybe we'll keep this going, this live format. It's kind of exhilarating because I'm like, okay, this is live. I can't make a mistake and edit. And maybe it will give you a chance. I would say I can do this around this time, like 2 p.m. CET is a good time, also with the light here. So next time, tomorrow, if you want tomorrow for the new moon in Capricorn and pulling cards, I can be online at 2 p.m. CET. And perhaps we can chat. Okay? And see you soon, and welcome to episode 1 of season 6 of Mel's Magic. Remember, I'm an energy and tarot reader. I'm a soul guide. My email, my contact is in the description box. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate your likes, your shares, your subscribes, you being here. Any donations help this give and receive flow that we're all tapped into. And yeah, it's good to be connected. It's good to be connected. Ciao for now. Owl and I have your back.